And we're going to go ahead and do this. So let's have a seat and check in with ourselves. Just coming to a nice, comfortable seated position, and that can be any way that you need it to be. Lifting up through the chest, letting the shoulders relax. I just want you to feel your spine come into alignment. Take a moment to sort of check in with your body, your whole body. And then let's start breathing our nice Ujjayi breaths, bringing in a little bit of calmness and inner directed focus, bringing in more oxygen. And then check in also with your thought processes, any emotions you might be feeling. Notice your energy right now. Pay particular attention to your energy. And then go ahead and bring your palms together in front of your heart. Let's set our intention for our practice today. When you're clear about your intention, take a deep inhale. And then just exhale through your mouth. And relax your arms. So if your spine is truly straight and aligned right now, your core is beautifully engaged all the way around. So your core is not just your abdomen. You've got two sets of abdominal muscles actually, one that runs vertically from your sternum to your pubic bone, and then one that runs kind of horizontally from hip bone to hip bone. So you've got two sets of abs. Then you've also got internal and external obliques. Those kind of run diagonally on the sides of the waist. And then you've got all of the muscles in the back, the erector spinae, you've got quadratus lumborum. There's tons of muscles in your back, but all of that collectively is your core. So it's not just the front side, it's 360 degrees all the way around. So we're going to be working with our core today, and we'll be hitting all of it. I'm going to give you modifications for exercises. I'll give some of you some ways maybe to make them even more challenging, but I just wanted you to know that our focus today is on the core. If you have back issues, this should actually be therapeutic for you. So strengthening and lengthening the core helps us keep our spine stable and aligned. And your breath work, of course, is going to be very important. So I just wanted you to know what you're in for heading into it. So just feel all of those muscles really hug in towards your spine. And take a moment, just kind of feel that. Feel your abdomen, feel the sides of your waist, and feel your back. So most of you probably saw that beautiful full moon last night. And if you're an early riser like me, you saw it this morning. So to counteract all of that lunar energy, we're doing a solar practice, which is part of why we're working on the core. It's around our solar plexus. So to begin our practice today, and just to kind of bring our energy up, we're going to begin with a single round of Kapalabhati breathing. You guys have done this with me before. It's that forceful contraction of the abdomen to press the air out. You relax the muscles, the inhale happens automatically. So there's zero effort on the inhale, lots of effort on the exhale. And this is all through the nose. So let's take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the nose. Take another deep breath in. This time you're going to breathe out half of the air and begin. Big inhale, arms up. Exhale, exhale, float your arms down. So if you suddenly feel warmer, bravo, that's a good sign. If you feel a little fatiguing in the abdomen, bravo, that's a good sign. If you've got gurgling and stuff going on, bravo, that's a good sign. If you feel more energetic, same thing. So let's put hands on knees, or if your legs are extended or you're in a chair, you can put your hands under your thighs. We're just going to do 3 of those torso circles in each direction. So we're just kind of loosening up all the way around. Make sure you go both directions. And then as you finish up, you can come onto your hands and knees. So we're going to arch around the back a little bit. Obviously, this is core. It's just gentle core. So when you inhale and you arch your back, basically your low back muscles are contracting. And then when you exhale and round your back, your abdomen is contracting. So you are getting contraction and reflex release on each side of the torso. Let's do this 1 or 2 more times. And then just pause. Take both feet to the right. Look over your right shoulder, kind of poke your left rib cage out. So what's going on right now is right side of the waist is contracting. That's your obliques. And the left side is stretching. Same muscle group. And then we'll just take our feet over to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Now the left side is contracting and the right side is stretching. Come back to the center, and on your next exhale, just take a child's pose for a moment. You'll feel your low back muscles stretch. And of course, you can enhance the stretch with your breath. The deeper you breathe, the more your low back expands. Let's scoot forward into Sphinx. Take a couple of breaths here, lengthening out low back, the actual spine. And you might feel a tiny stretch on the front of the abdomen here. And then downward facing dog. Press your tailbone up and back. If you need to do some little movements, that's fine. And then just find some stillness. Walk your feet forward, standing forward bend. In fact, let's go ahead and just bend the knees and turn it into our ragdoll. We'll hang here for a couple breaths. And then inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Just let your hands come by your sides for a moment. I want you to just take another opportunity to kind of tune in to your body. So muscles are engaged. If your core is engaged, you're going to feel these muscles slightly tightened, but not tense. So there's kind of that middle ground. They're not all soft and just, relaxed, but they're not super tense. You just want engagement. So it's almost as though all of your core muscles are hugging or embracing your spine. I want you to just feel that. And we'll be checking in with that periodically. So let's inhale, reach the arms up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway, and exhale back down. Step back with your left leg. And just hold your lunge for a moment. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. Let's bring right hand down, drop the left knee down and just extend your right leg. We're not going to neglect the rest of our body. So we just want to make sure we get a little bit of stretch everywhere. Bend your right knee, bring the arms up and overhead. Hips move forward, pelvis tilts back. And then go ahead and bring your hands down and just move back onto hands and knees. Now, if you have low back issues and you need to modify this, right now your modification would be a child's pose. What we're going to do from here is come into a forearm plank. So wrist issues, no worries, we're not going to be on the wrists. I'd like you to bring your forearms down onto the mat. Look at your elbows. They should not be any wider than your shoulders are. And then from here, step your feet back, taking the knees off the ground. You want your body in a straight line. Now be very mindful of not letting your hips go saggy and not sticking them way up like a dolphin. You want to be in a straight line and take a couple of breaths here. If you keep all of your core muscles engaged, your spine will stay really straight. If you start trembling, that's awesome. If you start losing your straight spine, then drop your knees down. Good. Now from here, go ahead and just let your body flatten out onto the mat. Big toes touch, heels separate, just like that. You're in a Sphinx. And then move into down dog. Take a big step forward with your left foot. So you're in a lunge. Take your left hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand down, drop the right knee, and just extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes if you can. And then bend your left knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Let your hips move forward. Let your pelvis tilt back. Good. Hands are going to come down and we step forward to our standing forward bend. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together. So I want you to just imagine for a moment that you're tightening up a corset. I know nobody really wants to wear them because they're uncomfortable. We're not going to let it be that tight, but I just want you to imagine that from about where your hip bones are up to your armpits, you're just kind of tightening up a corset. You feel your spine lengthen and everything gets really engaged. I want you to keep your corset on. Take your arms out to the side like airplane wings. Take your left toes onto the ground behind you. Chest stays lifted. Keep your corset on and hinge at your right hip. So we're playing with a warrior 3 variation, airplane pose. Now, those of you that are feeling pretty good about this, extend the arms forward and come up. Tighten up your corset. Arms out to the side like wings, right foot behind you. Hinge at your left hip. Airplane pose. If you're feeling pretty good about it, arms in front of you, and then we'll come back up. And release. Roll your shoulders back. That's balance number 1. You'll be doing this a few times because your core is really important for balance. But for now, you get a break from your balancing. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway. Exhale, back down. I want you to step back onto your hands and knees. All right, we're gonna do what's called a quad plank. Now, if you have wrist issues, you can do this on your forearms, but it's gonna feel a little different. So just kind of play with it and be mindful of your body. If you can stay on your hands, what we do is we keep our toes turned under on all fours. And I just want you to lift your knees like an inch off the ground. You just barely lift them and you just hang out. You keep your core tight. If it helps to continue using that image of a corset, please feel free to. If you prefer to think of all your muscles hugging your spine, do that. Or if you can just feel your core engage, take 2 more breaths here. And then drop your knees down, give yourself a tail wag. Extend your right leg straight out behind you into the air. Extend your left arm straight out in front of you. Now, if you feel like you can, we're gonna do 3 crunches here. So as you exhale, left elbow touches right knee underneath you, and as you inhale, you extend again. You exhale, you do that little crunch. You inhale and extend. One more time, exhale, crunch. Inhale and extend, and then you can put your left hand and your right knee back down. Give yourself a little wag. And then we're gonna extend the left leg out into the air, extend the right arm forward. And if you need to just stay here, that's fine. If you feel like you can, let's crunch. Right elbow to left knee as you exhale. Inhale and extend. Exhale and crunch. Inhale and extend. One more time, exhale and crunch. Inhale and extend. And bring it all back down and wag your tail. Good. From here, just take a child's pose for a moment. Stretch out the hips, stretch out the low back. And then from here, come back up. We're going to be doing another plank. So I'm going to give you all of your options. If your core is already starting to get tired, and this is a little too challenging, you can do this from your knees as long as your body's in a straight line. You may also do this from your forearms if that's better. You can do a forearm plank, which we've already done. Or if you're ready to go for the gold, we're doing a high plank or a hand plank. So you choose. Forearms is fine if you've got wrist issues. Otherwise, your hands are directly under your shoulders. You step your legs back and you make sure that your body's in a straight line. Again, you don't want that saggy old horse look. You want to have the hips in line with the heels and the shoulders. Take one more breath here. And then you're already in the perfect hand and foot position to press your hips back to downward facing dog. Now, the next time you inhale, shift forward into plank. Exhale into downward facing dog. One more time, shift forward into plank. And exhale into downward facing dog. Now, from here, right leg behind you. On your next exhale, take your right knee towards your nose. Inhale your right leg back out. And then exhale, take your right knee towards your right armpit. Inhale your right leg back out. Exhale, right knee towards left armpit. Inhale your right leg back out. Put your right foot down, drop to your knees. Take a child's pose. Come back up, go right back into a plank if you can, or downward facing dog. So if you can do a plank, you're gonna hold it. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and press into downward facing dog. If you can, inhale into plank.
Exhale into down dog. Inhale into plank. Exhale into down dog. One more time. Inhale into plank. Exhale into down dog. And then raise your left leg in the air. Now, as you exhale, left knee towards your nose. Inhale, left leg back out. Exhale, left knee towards left armpit. Inhale it back out. Exhale, left knee towards right armpit. Inhale it back out. Put your left foot down, and this time walk your feet forward, standing forward bend. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, palms together. So you should be feeling warmer. You should be feeling some engagement in your midsection. Hopefully you're feeling some exhilaration and not frustration with your instructor. So we're gonna balance again. We've turned your core on a little bit more. Every time we do this stuff, it gets more and more activated. So this time, as we move into a warrior three, you may find that you feel it a little more, you may feel more stable in the pose. You feel it as though you're more aligned. So here's what I'm gonna have you do. We're gonna just kind of step the left foot partially back, almost like you'd be in a small lunge. And I want you to bring your arms overhead. We're gonna start from here. Now, from here, keeping core really engaged, I want you to just start exhaling and hinging at your right hip. And then breathe as you need to. And come back up. Release your arms and roll your shoulders back. Just notice if that felt a little more stable, a little easier, maybe a little more in control than the first time. So now we're gonna do the other side. Just kind of step your right leg back. I want you to already have a kickstand and feel safe. Arms are up and overhead. Engage your core. Hug your spine with all your muscles. And then as you exhale, you're just gonna hinge at your left hip. Breathing. And come back up, release your arms, roll your shoulders back. Awesome. Feet together, hands together. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, you're gonna fold forward. Look up halfway. And then back down. Now listen, we are going to be getting back up, so don't get too excited, but just however you comfortably can, come to a seated position. If you've got a block nearby, grab it. If you're going to use a rolled up towel or something, also fine. We're going to start with the block. Middle width, or I'm sorry, skinny width, the skinniest width between your knees. So you've got your block, squeeze between your knees at the skinniest level. Kind of grab behind your thighs, lift your chest for a straight spine. Lift your feet off the ground and see if you can extend your arms in front of you. I want you to squeeze that block while you lift your chest, and don't forget to breathe. Now, some of you guys love core work like me. If you want to, you can extend your legs, but you still have to squeeze the block. So that instantly made me start trembling, which I like because it means I'm getting stronger. 2 more breaths, you guys. Feet down. Take your block out from between your knees. Remember, we are getting back up. You're gonna roll onto your back. Now we're putting it at the middle width, right? The middle width, or a fatter towel roll between the thighs, but I want you to bring it as close to your pubic bone as you can get it. Feet are gonna flex, and the soles of the feet are reaching up towards the ceiling. You're gonna interlace your fingers behind your neck. Make sure it's your neck, not your head. Point your elbows at the ceiling. Squeeze your block. You're gonna feel your abs already engaged. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Flatten your back as you exhale. Squeeze your block. Crunch your elbows towards your thighs, breathe all of your air out, reach your feet to the ceiling, squeeze your block, inhale down. Hold your breath, flatten your back, exhale, crunch towards your thighs, squeeze your block, press your navel towards the floor, empty your lungs, just one more. Inhale down, hold the breath, flatten the back, exhale, and crunch. Good. You can remove your block, set it off to the side. You'll use it again in a moment. Just kind of rock yourself up to sitting. Find that nice straight spine. Check in. How's your core feeling? Should be feeling pretty good. And then from here, you can just transition onto your hands and knees, arching around your back a couple times, and wag your tail. Now, all levels, so that means you get to say no or modify or do whatever you want. If you're feeling like you need a rest right now, you're going to take child's pose for a few breaths. If you're feeling like you want a little bit of work, you're going to do a forearm plank, which is coming onto your forearms and being in a straight line. And those of you that are gluttons for punishment are going to do a full-on plank with me. So here we go. Child's pose, forearm plank, or high plank. Now, only if you're in a high plank and you're feeling extra sassy, raise the right leg off the ground. Put your right foot back down and raise your left leg off the ground. Left foot back down. Everybody drop to your knees. If you are in child's pose, you're going to join us now. Forearm plank, come back up onto the hands. Regular plank, just turn your toes under. We are all going into downward facing dog. Press your tailbone way up and back. Walk your feet forward. Big inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together. All right, so this is going to be your third and final balance, and I want you to work at the level that you're working at. So if your balance is pretty wonky today, maybe you're still playing with airplane pose with your arms out to the side. Or maybe you're going to play with warrior 3 the way we did it the second time with your foot behind you and just kind of tilting into it. For those of you who feel like you've got some core strength and you want to play with this a little more, it's the moving in and out that make it so challenging, right? If you want to play at the higher level, then we're going to step our left leg way back and come into a high lunge. Right knee bends. Arms are overhead. Now, if you're just doing your regular warrior 3, off you go. If you're with me, lift off. Engage your core and lean forward. And then the fun part is we're going to put our left foot back where we got it. Right back into our high lunge. Step the feet forward and relax the arms. You're working at your own level. If you want the little bit extra challenge, right leg steps way back, left knee bends, you're in your high lunge. We lift off into warrior 3 from here, right leg extends. And then the challenge being, put your right foot back down where you got it, high lunge, and step your right foot forward, relax your arms. So roll your shoulders back a couple of times. Good. That's some pretty challenging stuff. That's a lot of core work. So the great thing is when we do the really crazy stuff on the front end, I'm a lot nicer on the back end. So just hang in there. It's about to get a lot nicer. But what I'd like you to notice now is just kind of on your own, however you want to, just notice that now that your core is very activated, if you lift a leg off the ground and you kind of move around a little bit, it's pretty easy to keep your balance, right? Your core is completely turned on now, and it knows what to do to keep you from falling. Just so that we're even, do the same thing on the other side. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to be like what I'm doing. Just kind of move around the whole body And notice how your core wants to keep you upright. And then both feet down. So it's always good to keep our core strong because everything else that happens with arms, legs, and head is dependent upon the core. It would not matter how strong your shoulders are. If you were trying to lift something up, if your core was weak, you would collapse. So we really want to keep our midsection strong. All right, that's enough lecture. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. I just didn't want you to think I was being mean for no reason. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, back down. You can think of it like tough love. Move back onto your hands and knees. Give yourself a little tail wag. And then we're going to come back down onto our forearms. But we're going to do something a little different. And again, I want you to just be mindful of your own body and work at your limit. So your left forearm is going to go across the mat. So it's kind of parallel with the front edge of your mat. You're going to start moving your knees and your feet back because what I'm going to ask you to do is come into a side plank. And if you can, I want you to flex both feet and stack your right foot on top of your left. Maybe take your right hand to the ceiling. If you have shoulder issues, this may not be for you and you may skip it. Breathe. Nice. Bring it down. I want you to come back onto hands and knees. This is a great way to really strengthen the obliques, the sides of the waist. So now your right forearm is across the mat, so it's parallel to the front side of your mat. You're gonna roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, and if you can, stack your left foot on top of your right. Both feet are flexed. Left hand is towards the ceiling. You're breathing. And then just bring it back down, hands and knees. And finally, take a nice, yummy child's pose. From your child's pose, you can scoot forward into Sphinx, or if you'd rather do Cobra, you could do that. Those of you that like full vinyasas, feel free to take one. You're certainly warmed up enough for it. And then let's move into downward facing dog. Press your tailbone up and back. Now, this is your final little rough thing for wrists and shoulders. If you can, we're going to do 3 more of those planks down dogs. So as you inhale, shift forward into plank. Exhale, press back in downward facing dog. Inhale into plank. Exhale into downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Press your tailbone back. And then you can walk your feet forward and have a seat. Look at that. You did a practice with no warriors. Well, you did warrior 3, but no true standing poses except for your balances. Nice. All right, so we are not done with core work, of course. We're just done with the standing part. Pardon me. But I'd like you to take a moment and just kind of check in Dandasana. So obviously, you should be warmer. But I also remember at the beginning of our practice, I asked you to be really mindful of your energy. I want you to notice what your energy is like right now. So chances are you're a lot more alert and awake and energized, and that's because of all of this core work. So from here, we have another boat pose to do. No block on this one. Bend your knees, reach behind your thighs, lift your chest, lift your feet off the ground, extend your arms in front of you. Now all we're gonna do are some little taps here. Tap your right toes down, lift the right knee back up. Left toes down and lift. Right toes, left toes, keep the chest lifted. Right toes, left toes. We got 2 more on each side. Right toes, left toes, right toes, and left toes, Good. Feet are back on the mat. And then from here, all you're going to do is extend your right leg out. Bring your left foot across your right thigh. We're coming into a nice twist. So you've really been waking up this midsection. Now we're going to squeeze it and wring it out in a nice deep twist. Your left hand is behind you. You can either hug your left knee or bring your right elbow outside of it for an even deeper twist. Take a couple deep breaths. Rotate back around. Allow your left foot to just come to the inside of the right thigh. Give yourself a break and lean out over your right leg. Just stretching a little bit. Coming up from that, extend your left leg out. Pick your right foot up and bring it across your left thigh with your right foot flat. Nice deep twist to the right. So you're twisting to look over your right shoulder. You're trying to feel that squeezing sensation in your midsection. Good. As you rotate back around, bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh and just lean out over your left leg. Come on up from that, extend your right leg out. Give it a good wiggle. Good. And then here is your final little core challenge from your seated position. And then after this, you've only got one more thing for core, and then that's it. That requires effort, I should say. So I'd like you to have your feet flat. You do your own thing. And if you wind up just plunking down or flopping onto your back, I will forgive you, no judgment. But if you can, arms are in front of you, keep your feet flat. I want you to try and take a really, really long time to roll down onto your back. Go as slow as you can. As you make it all the way onto your back, hug your knees in and rock side to side. All right. Our final core exercise that requires effort. You have my word on it. This is it. Frog lifting through. It's an Anna Forrest move. I'd like you to have 90 degrees at your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Drop the knees open so you've got these little froggy legs. Interlace your fingers behind your neck and point your elbows at the ceiling. We're going to take a deep breath in. As we exhale, we're just kind of curling up in the middle, right? So your pubic bone curls upward, your elbows lift and reach through the thighs, into your lungs. Keep your feet flexed. Inhale down. Exhale, curling through, frog lifting through. Just one more. Inhale down. Exhale, curling up. And then you can hug your knees in and rock side to side. Good. Now from here, grab your block. Now it's for the good yummy stuff. I want you to put your block either at the lowest level or mid-level underneath your sacrum for supported bridge. So you've done a lot of stuff with your core. Now we're just going to let it kind of open and relax. So once you're in your bridge pose, make sure your big toes are touching, heels are separated. You're at whichever level is best for you, but you want to feel this openness on the front side of your torso. Pardon me. So this is you kind of offering your core up. I want you to use your breath here to really expand the abdomen on the inhales and contract it on the exhales. One more slow breath here. Then what I'd like you to do, if your block is at the mid-level, you're gonna have to flip it back down to the low level. And if you're at the lowest level, maybe just reposition it. You get to float your legs up. Now, if you've got your hips on a towel, you can still find that kind of fulcrum point that allows the legs to just kind of float up towards the ceiling with no effort. You shouldn't feel like you're actually having to hold your legs up. So the top part of the thighs, totally relaxed. The block or the towel should be causing your pelvis to tilt just the right amount that the legs just kind of float into the air and stay there. This is a really nice restorative way to partially reverse your blood flow, just temporarily. Couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready to slowly bend your knees, you can bring your feet back down onto the mat. Lift your hips up, take the block out from underneath you, and just let your spine settle back down onto the mat. Use your block or your rolled up towel between the knees. If you've got a block, keep it at the skinniest level. Both knees bent, and you're just gonna drop them over to the right. Let your left arm open out to the left and take some nice deep slow breaths here. So super gentle twist. The block or towel is keeping the knees the same distance apart as the hips, which means your whole body's really neutral and happy here. You just have this little bit of spinal rotation. So again, it's a gentle twisting or squeezing at your core. One more breath here. And then on your next inhale, you can keep the block or towel between your knees, bring them back up, and then drop them over to the left. Let your right arm open out to the right. You can turn your head to the right. So same thing here, you're just allowing your body to really relax. So in this position, obviously you've got something between your knees. But if your right knee tries to slide back away from your left knee, you know what? Let it. We're not worried about alignment here so much as just feeling that little bit of rotation and squeeze in the core. One more breath. Good. On your next inhale, coming up. And you can take the block out from between your knees. Just set it off to the side. Hug your knees in. Rock side to side. So we've already done froggy stuff, that frog lifting through. Now you're gonna get to do some buggy stuff. I want you to do traditional dead bug. So the knees are bent and they're in the air right now. Separate your knees, reach your arms between them, and then see if you can clasp the arches of your feet from the inside. And if not, just grab your ankles, flex your feet, kind of like we did for frog legs. Point the soles of the feet at the ceiling and then apply a little bit of pressure. So you're kind of pulling down on the arches of the feet. And you should feel this mostly in the backs of the thighs, the hamstrings, but you might also feel it a little bit in your glutes and your low back. You can think about trying to get the tailbone flat. Even if it doesn't go, it's a nice internal intention for keeping the core nice and engaged. And then switch your hands to the outside edges of your feet and wiggle a little bit. You have earned your happy baby. Just take a couple more breaths, any more movements you feel like you need. And then we're going to bring the feet flat onto the mat. Keep your ankles and knees together, and we're going to do a little bit of that breath-centered movement. So as you exhale, both knees drop a little to the right. You inhale, they come back up. You exhale, you drop them to the left. So it's just a nice, slow rolling of the hips, coordinated to every inhale and exhale. One more time on each side, or whatever feels like a good number for you. And then we're just going to let the knees drop open, soles of the feet together. Take a slightly deeper inhale and press your low back into the mat. So you're just taking the curve out of the spine, flattening your low back. I'd like you to hold that while you keep breathing slowly and deeply. On your next exhale, release. You're going to allow the curve to come back into your spine, that natural arch. And then one more time, inhale, flatten your low back, press it into the mat, breathe. Next time you breathe out, release it, extend your legs, wiggle them a little bit if you need to. Make sure your glutes are relaxed, that your spine is lengthened, shoulders are relaxed, face is soft, eyes are closed. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth and relax. So you're feeling your body soften and your breath get shallower and gentler. You're noticing that your thoughts don't seem maybe quite as important. Bring your awareness to the very center of your torso. So your whole abdominal cavity, basically, think about from the bottom of the rib cage, kind of all the way down into your lower abdomen. Imagine that you can relax your internal organs. Just imagine it. And then imagine that your internal organs are just floating. So they're actually packed in there pretty nicely, but you can imagine that they're just floating in interstitial fluid. So I want you to let this midsection, interior midsection, feel relaxed. And that's an odd concept because it's not like our internal organs contract and relax. Some of the muscles do, the intestines do, but basically we don't think of our internal organs as tightening and releasing. But I want you to just imagine for a moment that you can relax all of your organs. And then I want you to really feel your muscles on top of them relax. So remember, I do 2 sets of abdominal muscles, the ones that run from your sternum to your pubic bone, and then the ones that run across hip bone to hip bone. Let those relax. In other words, let your belly be soft. Let the sides of your waist be soft. Let the muscles in your low back be soft. If earlier you were able to feel that sensation of tightening a corset, imagine that you just loosened it and completely flung it off. Everything soft and relaxed. Feel the warmth in your midsection. Feel the energy there. So after your practice today, your core is even stronger. And yet right now, it's very soft. So it's a nice reminder that we can be strong and soft. We can be strong and kind. Our bodies are good teachers. Notice if there's any gurgling or rumbling in your midsection. If so, that's a very good thing. And then just start feeling into the rest of the body. So right now, hopefully, you feel very relaxed and yet also somewhat energized. You should feel as though you have plenty of energy at your disposal should you choose to use it. But that right now, you're not really choosing to because you're relaxed. Start to deepen your breath a little bit. Start to move the fingers and toes a little bit. And then when you're ready, you can do that deeper inhale and spread your fingers and toes. Exhale with a soft sigh, relax the fingers and toes. Even deeper breath in as you stretch and lengthen your body. And then exhale with a sigh again as you relax. Bend your knees. You can certainly hug them in if that feels good. And then roll to your right side. Pause there for a moment. And use your left hand in front of your chest to press up to the sitting. So all of this solar work counteracts all of this lunar energy that is out there right now because of that beautiful full moon. So as always, yoga is about balance. We've balanced out our energies. So your practice was very solar. And it's interesting that we call this area solar plexus, right? And so your ending breath work will also be solar. And by the way, that Kapalabhati that you did at the beginning of practice was also a solar breath. This will be a little bit gentler though. We're going to inhale through the right nostril and exhale through the left nostril every single time. You'll use your right hand, if you don't mind. First 2 fingers can just rest in the center of the forehead so that your right thumb blocks the right nostril, ring and pinky block the left. Or you can take those 2 fingers and tuck them under the pad of the thumb, and then the 2 bent fingers are underneath the nostrils. Either way, right thumb is going to block right nostril, ring and pinky block left. And what we're doing is inhaling through the right nostril and exhaling through the left nostril every time,
And I would love for you to do this as a 1-to-2 ratio breath if you can. So whatever you inhale on the right, your exhale on the left is twice as long. So maybe you inhale for 3 and exhale for 6, or inhale for 4 and exhale for 8. Always breathing in on the right, always breathing out on the left. Take a big inhale through both nostrils and a big exhale through both nostrils. And then off you go, solar breathing, Surya Vedana. Finish out the breath you're on, and as you do, just let your right hand rest down on your knee or thigh. And just take the opportunity to check in one more time. Even though that was a gentle breath, you may have felt your body temp go up again slightly. So if you're feeling a little bit warmer, nice job. And if you're not, that's okay, still nice job. Just noticing your body, noticing the muscles, noticing if perhaps now just sitting with a straight aligned spine feels a lot easier since all of your core muscles are very awake and engaged. Noticing your breath, thoughts, emotions, and energy. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart, Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment in gratitude for that beautiful full moon that we got to see. Gratitude for the sun, because without it, we wouldn't have seen the moon since that's a reflection of the sun. Gratitude for the sun because it gives us life. Gratitude for this practice because it teaches us how to balance out those two energies. Take one more huge inhale through your nose. Big happy sigh. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present and to pay attention. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open so that we can always practice kindness, compassion, and love. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. Namaste.